Officer Rick Martinez slammed his cruiser door. The white van ahead was taking up 2 parking spaces at Miller's grocery. Hazards blinking like a distress signal. "Move it or lose it, buddy," Martinez shouted before he even reached the window. Thomas Mitchell looked up from his steering wheel. 53. Gray military haircut. Left arm hanging limp. "Officer, I'm having trouble with my—" "Save it." Martinez tapped his knuckles on the glass. "You drove here. You can drive out. My left leg isn't responding today. The rain makes the nerve damage worse. If I could just—" "Oh, here we go." Martinez stepped back, voice carrying across the parking lot. "Another sob story. What's next? You gonna tell me you're a war hero?" Thomas's jaw tightened. "I just need groceries for my wife." "Then park like everybody else instead of acting like you own the place." A few shoppers had stopped to watch. Martinez felt their attention and straightened up. "What's your name?" "Thomas Mitchell." "Well, Thomas Mitchell, you've got 60 seconds before I call the tow truck." Tick-tock. Thomas tried to shift into reverse. His left foot slipped off the brake. The van jerked forward, tapping the curb. "That's it." Martinez grabbed his radio. "Need a tow at Miller's disabled vehicle blocking spaces." "The van's not disabled." "Could have fooled me." The tow truck arrived fast, yellow lights cutting through the gray afternoon. Thomas watched helplessly as they hooked up his Vanthy one with hand controls, the one he'd bought with his disability pension. $200 for the tow, 50 daily storage, the driver said. Thomas had $87 in his account. "I don't have that kind of money." Martinez shrugged. "Should have thought of that before." "Can I get my walker?" "Walker?" Martinez popped the rear doors. Inside sat a folded wheelchair and walker, both covered in military stickers. A Purple Heart license plate lay on the floor. "I thought you said you weren't disabled." "I said the van wasn't." "Make up your mind." Martinez pulled out the walker roughly. "Try not to block any more spaces." Thomas gripped the metal handles. 3 years he'd been using this thing. 3 years since the doctors told him the IED damage was permanent. "I served in Afghanistan," Thomas said quietly. "I wasn't trying to cause trouble." "Yeah, right. Half the guys in town claim they're veterans." Martinez was already walking back to his cruiser. "Real original." The tow truck pulled away. Thomas stood in the rain, watching his only transportation disappear. Near the store entrance, a young man in civilian clothes pulled out his phone. Military haircut, ramrod posture. He'd been recording the whole thing. The next morning, Thomas stared at the foreclosure notice on his kitchen table. Without his van, he couldn't get to his part-time job. The hardware store owner had been understanding, but patience had limits. His wife Carol sat across from him, multiple sclerosis keeping her wheelchair bound. "We'll figure this out," she said. "We always do." The phone rang. Unknown number. "Mr. Mitchell, this is Corporal Jake Williams, Marines. 1. I think I know who you are." Thomas's blood went cold. "I'm sorry?" "Sir, I recorded what happened yesterday. Posted it in our unit's private group chat. Someone recognized your name from the medal citations. Sir, are you Sergeant Thomas Mitchell? Operation Fallen Angel?" Thomas closed his eyes. "That was a long time ago." "Sir, with respect, it was 2019. You carried 12 wounded Marines across 2 miles of enemy territory. My squad leader was one of them. Staff Sergeant Rodriguez." "How is Rodriguez?" "Alive because of you, sir. He's a recruiting sergeant now. He wants to know if you'd be okay with us sharing your story." Thomas's hands shook. "I don't want any trouble." "Sir, you won't be in trouble, but that cop might be." 2 hours later, Thomas's phone wouldn't stop ringing. The video had jumped from a private Marine group to public social media. Number, Justice for SGT Mitchell, was trending. Sarah Chen from Channel 7 knocked on his door. "Mr. Mitchell, I'd like to talk to you about what happened. I just want my van back. I think I can help with that." She showed him her phone. This video has 3 million views. The police chief is getting calls from the Pentagon. Thomas felt dizzy. The Pentagon? Your old commanding officer saw the video. He's not happy. The next day, Thomas woke to find his van in the parking lot. Clean, serviced, full tank of gas. A note on the windshield. Semper Fi, 3rd Battalion Marines. Chief Morrison knocked on his door an hour later. Sergeant Mitchell, I need to apologize. What Officer Martinez did was inexcusable. Thomas let him in. What happens to him? Suspended without pay for 6 months. Mandatory sensitivity training. He's lucky he still has a job. That seems harsh. Morrison's face hardened. Sergeant, I've read your file. What you did in Afghanistan. Martinez humiliated a genuine American hero. If anything, I'm being lenient. I'm not a hero. That's not what the Medal of Honor recommendation says. Thomas froze. What? Your CO submitted you for the Medal of Honor. You declined the ceremony. But the paperwork's all there. You saved 67 lives in that operation. Carol gasped. Tom, you never told me that. It wasn't important. Wasn't important? Morrison shook his head. Martinez doesn't know any of this yet. He's been hiding at home since the video went viral. His neighbors are not pleased. Thomas felt a stab of sympathy. I don't want to destroy his life. You didn't destroy anything. He did that himself. There was a knock at the door. Thomas opened it to find a man in Marine dress uniform. Sergeant Major Rodriguez, according to his name tape. Sergeant Mitchell, I drove from Camp Lejeune to find you. Sir, this really isn't. My son was in that convoy. Private Marcus Rodriguez. 18 years old, scared out of his mind. You carried him on your back for 2 miles while taking fire. Thomas remembered Marcus. Baby-faced kid from Texas. Always talking about his girlfriend back home. How is he? Married that girlfriend. 2 kids. He's a teacher now. Says he learned what real courage looks like from you. Rodriguez handed him a folder. Letters from the families. They've been trying to reach you for years. Thomas opened it with shaking hands. The first letter was from Marcus's mother. Sergeant Mitchell, you brought my baby home. He talks about you every day. Thank you for giving me my son back. Thomas's vision blurred. Letter after letter. All from grateful families. I was just doing my job, he whispered. No, son. You were doing something more. Outside, vehicles were arriving. Military vehicles with Marine plates. Men and women in uniform getting out. Forming up in the parking lot. What are they doing here? Paying respects. Word spread through the Corps. Marines don't forget. Thomas looked out the window. At least 30 Marines now. Standing at attention in dress uniforms. This is too much. No, it's not enough. But it's a start. Another knock. Officer Martinez stood in the doorway, looking like he'd aged 10 years. His uniform was wrinkled, his eyes red. Sergeant Mitchell, could I talk to you? Thomas hesitated, then nodded. Martinez stepped inside, saw the Marines outside, and his face went pale. I looked up your record. I read about Operation Fallen Angel. I read about all of it. Thomas waited. My brother's a Marine. He served in Iraq. When he saw the video, Martinez's voice cracked. He won't talk to me. Says I'm a disgrace to the uniform. Officer Martinez, I've been a cop for 8 years. I thought I knew what service meant. But seeing this, seeing what you did. Martinez gestured toward the Marines outside. I realize I don't know anything. Thomas studied the younger man. Why did you treat me that way? Martinez was quiet for a long moment. Honestly, I was having a bad day. My wife's divorcing me. I was angry at the world, and I took it out on you. Honestly. That's not an excuse. No, it's not. It's just the truth. Thomas looked at the Marines outside, then back at Martinez. Officer, what do you think service means? I don't know anymore. It means helping people when they need it most, even when they can't help themselves. Martinez nodded, tears in his eyes. I forgot that. I forgot who I was supposed to be. Thomas extended his hand. I'm Thomas Mitchell. I'm a veteran who sometimes needs help getting around. Yesterday, I needed help. Instead, I got humiliated. Martinez shook his hand. I'm Rick Martinez. I'm a police officer who forgot what that badge means. I'm sorry, Sergeant. I'm truly sorry. Well, Officer Martinez, Thomas said, a slight edge to his voice. I guess we all have bad days. Some of us just handle them better than others. Martinez flinched at the gentle rebuke. Yes, sir. You're right. The question is, what are you going to do about it? I'm requesting transfer to veteran services. I want to learn how to serve people like you properly. If they'll have me. Thomas nodded slowly. That's a start. Rodriguez approached from outside. Sergeant Mitchell, the Marine Corps wants to properly honor what you did. A ceremony at Quantico. Full honors. Thomas looked at Carol, who smiled and nodded. I'll consider it. That's all we ask. As the afternoon wore on, more Marines arrived. Word had spread through social media, through military networks. They came from bases across the region, all in dress uniform, all standing at attention in Thomas's parking lot. A news van pulled up, then another. The Marines maintained their formation, proud and unmovable. By evening, the crowd had grown to over 100. Marines, soldiers, veterans, civilians, all there to honor a man who'd been humiliated 24 hours earlier. Thomas stood at his window, overwhelmed. I don't understand this. Rodriguez joined him. Son, you've been hiding for 3 years, but the Corps doesn't forget its own. We don't abandon our brothers. Tutu, Lexinte. Rodriguez joined him. I'm not special. You saved 67 lives. You carried wounded Marines through enemy fire. You declined the Medal of Honor because you said other men deserved it more. Rodriguez's voice was firm. That's not modesty, Sergeant. That's heroism. Sarah Chen appeared with her camera crew. Sergeant Mitchell, the story's gone national. 5 million views and climbing. The Pentagon released a statement supporting you. Thomas felt dizzy. What did they say? That you represent the best of American military values. That any disrespect shown to you is disrespect shown to all who serve. Officer Martinez watched from across the parking lot, alone. His supervisor had arrived to escort him home. The crowd's anger toward him was palpable. Thomas noticed and walked over. Chief Morrison, can I have a word with Martinez? Morrison looked surprised but nodded. Thomas approached Martinez. Officer, I want you to see something. He led Martinez to the edge of the Marine formation. These men and women understand what service means. They're not here because I'm special. They're here because someone forgot that we're all fighting battles nobody else can see. Martinez looked at the Marines, then back at Thomas. I'll never forget this. Any of it. Good. Don't forget it. Learn from it. 3 weeks later, Thomas stood on the parade ground at Quantico. Hundreds of Marines at attention. Carol in the front row, tears streaming down her face. The commandant stepped forward with a medal case. Sergeant Thomas Mitchell, for extraordinary heroism above and beyond the call of duty, the President of the United States awards you the Navy Cross. As the medal was pinned to his chest, Thomas thought about the journey that brought him here, from a rainy parking lot where he'd been humiliated, to this moment of honor. The ceremony ended with a 21-gun salute. As the echoes faded, Thomas finally understood what he'd learned. Heroes aren't people who never fall down. They're people who get back up, even when the world is watching, even when it's easier to stay down. But most importantly, They're people who remember that everyone deserves dignity, especially when they're at their lowest. The Marines began filing past, each one stopping to shake his hand. At the end of the line stood a familiar figure in a police uniform. Officer Martinez, now working with Veteran Services, approached nervously. "Sergeant Mitchell, congratulations. You deserve this." Thomas looked at the man who'd once humiliated him. "Officer Martinez, what did you learn?" Martinez straightened up. "That the badge doesn't make you a hero. How you treat people does." Thomas smiled. "Now you're getting it." As the crowd dispersed, Thomas stood with Carol in the fading light. The weight of the medal on his chest felt different than he'd expected. Not heavier, but somehow more complete. "Tom," Carol said softly, "I'm proud of you." "For what?" "For showing mercy. For teaching instead of punishing. For remembering who you are." Thomas looked at the Marines loading into their vehicles, heading back to bases across the country. Tomorrow, they'd tell others about this day. About a veteran who'd been knocked down and got back up. About the importance of standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves. He'd spent 3 years hiding from who he was. Now he understood that hiding wasn't protecting him, it was protecting the world from seeing what real heroes look like. They don't wear capes. They don't always look strong. Sometimes they need help getting around. But they get back up, and they help others do the same. That's what makes them heroes.